What's going on, everybody? You're listening to a new episode of the Post Game Report. So I want to talk about the brand new TV that I bought during Black Friday. It's a Samsung S90D OLED television. And previous to that, I had a Sony television, an LED. And that one was about a year old. I still have it. I gave it to my son. And I had no complaints with that television. I believe it's an 85J or something like that, a Bravia TV. And I was satisfied with that television because it had 120 hertz. It had VRR. So I had everything that I needed to fully optimize the PlayStation 5. I bought the PlayStation 5 Pro. I was still able to optimize and play and utilize the power of the PlayStation 5 Pro with the Bravia TV. And then during Black Friday, I was going to check out an LG television. I believe it was a B something model. It was on sale for about $600. And when I went to Best Buy, I see a television on display. And of course, they have all the TVs fully optimized. When you go to a store like Best Buy, everything is, all the colors are bright, everything's set up nicely. So I saw that it was a Samsung television. I look at the model. I start looking on the internet on the spot. And what I realized was that I read up on that particular TV previously. It was, I believe, I forgot which website it was. They review TVs and stuff. And they gave it the TV of the year for gaming. So I said, let me check out the price tag. It was $1,000. And I told my wife, I said, you know what? I came in for a lower cost television. I want this one. So I took the thing home. And of course, I'm the type that when I buy a new product, especially electronics, I need to read up and watch every freaking video there is. So I noticed that there were tweaks you can make to the color, to the brightness, to the type of motion blur and all that stuff. You get that soap opera effect when you buy a new television. They amp up that motion feature to where it looks like a soap opera. I grew up watching film, movies, TV shows with 24 frames per second. Now, I don't play my video games at 24 frames per second because it would look horrible. I need to play them at 60. But I do not want to watch my content at 60 frames per second. I'm so accustomed to 24 frames per second. So I left my television, after setting it up. I saw like the real impact of an OLED television. The deep colors. Now, I own a Samsung Galaxy Note 20. I believe it's the last Galaxy Note that Samsung made. And I know full well that Samsung loves to saturate their colors. And they make amazing freaking panels. So I was already accustomed to seeing deep colors, for example, with my iPad Pro M4. It has a dual OLED screen. So I'm accustomed to seeing beautiful, deep blacks, vibrant colors, things like that. But never on a big screen, and never with my video games. So of course, I had to check out every freaking video game I own on the PlayStation 5 Pro. And for example, Horizon Forbidden West or Zero Dawn, either one, looks freaking insane. And I was like, man, I missed out on this fucking OLED movement. So many people talked about the impact in your gaming that you would get with an OLED screen. And the 90D by Samsung, holy shit. I mean, the panel is very thin. The speakers on that television is the best I've ever heard. And it was, I believe it's ratingstv.com. They also rated the Samsung 90D speakers as one of the best. And I can totally see it. I thought the Sony Bravia TV that I have, it actually has a feature where you can set up, it has a setup so it'll read your surroundings in your room. So the Bravia had some good speakers as well. The Samsung 90D, it does the same thing. It'll freaking bounce, I guess, sound off the walls and stuff like that and come up with a nice sound profile for you. But the bass, it has bass, it has great sound. It's the best sounding TV I've ever owned. Best looking one at that. So if you are in the market for a new television, do yourself a favor, get yourself an OLED television. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Samsung 90D. LG makes good televisions, so do Sony. As a matter of fact, what is it, TCL? I don't want to say TLC because I don't think that's the name of the brand, but they also make good televisions. Do yourself a favor, get an OLED television. You will see a big difference immediately. It's just amazing. With good HDR, your games have more of a visual depth to it. It's just something that you have to see for yourself. And if you get a panel with 120 hertz, I believe my 90D has support for 144 frames per second or hertz or whatever. And of course has VRR, so it's fully prepared for this current generation of video games, even PC. People use it as a PC monitor. So I highly recommend an OLED. Do yourself that favor. Now, as far as video games and what I'm playing, well, I'm still hooked on Helldivers 2. I have close to 800 hours. I'm at a level 137. And I just can't stop playing that freaking game. It's not player versus player. It's, you and your friends, a team of 4 versus the computer, essentially, right? Whether it's bugs, aliens, or robots. And to this day, because the game has been out for a while, to this day, there are things happening that are so unexpected and hilarious. And it just brings me back to it. As I said it before, the gameplay is smooth. The visuals is not the, most graphically advanced game, but it doesn't need to be. There are some planets that look incredible, and then you see all the action happening, and it holds up. And what keeps me, I guess, going back is the fact that when I do meet new players and they do have a microphone, it's always a good time. I've met people my age, or I remember meeting one guy who was 54. I'm 52. And I was like, holy shit, you have, a 50-year-old, a 52-year-old, a 54-year-old. I'm like, this is crazy that we're here enjoying this video game, making jokes that only people from our time will get. And we didn't have to worry about some asshole hopping on and messing the game up for us. But I did try a few other games. I tried Outer Worlds, which is currently on the PlayStation Network. I mean, it's been there for a while. I tried that. It's one of those games that typical Obsidian game where there's something about the perspective, like stuff looks too close, and you're playing from a first-person perspective, and it makes me want to vomit. Like they used to happen with Turok and other first-person type games where it's so freaking, I don't know what it is. Stuff is so cluttered and I feel claustrophobic. And then with my brain injury, it doesn't help that I feel claustrophobic because it amplifies that feeling. I did purchase and finish as Dusk Falls, which is a very interesting game. It has a very cool story, a very interesting art design. It's like playing a graphic novel or a comic book. It's like real people, but with a filter over them that looks like a drawing. And it's an interesting game. There's a lot of freaking ways your story can branch out based on your decisions. So I tried a few different decisions. It used to be an Xbox exclusive, and I found it on sale on the PlayStation Network, and I bought it and enjoyed it. Another game that I finished was The Expanse. I really enjoyed that freaking TV series on Amazon. I believe it was Amazon. And so I was pretty excited when they showed a trailer for a video game in the style of Walking Dead. And if you guys remember that, Telltale Games with their Walking Dead. There's a few other games. I believe they have a Borderlands type game. So it's one of those story-driven games where there's not much action, but you gotta do some quick time events, make decisions with your dialogue that will affect the story. I finished that, got the platinum, enjoyed that as well. Another game that I finished was, as a matter of fact, I need to finish the new Call of Duty. I played a few rounds of multiplayer and zombies with some of the fellas. It's not bad. It is not bad. But the single player, I've always enjoyed the Call of Duty single player campaigns. And this particular one, Black Ops 6, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And it looks really freaking good too. So if you have it on the PlayStation 5 Pro with an OLED television, shit, you're in for a nice treat. I tried this game called Police Simulator. I couldn't take it. It was the controls, the visuals. It was like, holy shit, this is not good. And I tried Forsaken again. I couldn't get into the story. Nothing against the game. I just couldn't get into it. And plus, the movement, and that was the reason why I didn't buy it, because the movement was too damn fast for me. So trying it again just reiterated why I didn't purchase it. But a lot of people like that game. And then I bought The Thing remastered. For those of you who know me, I'm a huge fan of the movie, the John Carpenter version of the movie, because there's an original, The Thing from Another World, I believe. So it's one of my favorite movies, regardless of the genre. And I saw the remaster on sale, and I was like, freak it, man. I need to buy this just to have it. And I try to play Hogwarts. I need to really sit down and give it a chance. But the thing is, once again, every time I start a new game, I just want to go back to Helldivers too. So maybe that's the problem. And then, of course, I have Astrobot. Finally, I've been little by little going through planets. Man, Astrobot, you know what? It's not for everybody. I know some people are like, it's too childish for me or whatever. Listen, you can't say that and then go and play Mario games. Astrobot is an ode to the old Mario games. You know, when they brought out Mario as a standalone character because he was in Donkey Kong, it just changed the way we play those type of games. And we all, whoever owns a PlayStation 5, we played Astro's Playroom, and we witnessed how that particular game was a tech demo, like a glorified tech demo to showcase the DualSense controller, the DualShock controller. It's crazy how in Astrobot, my character can be walking on grass and then walk on sand and then walk on cement, and all three surfaces feel unique through the controller with the vibration. It is freaking weird. And listen, for me to actually feel the difference between all three surfaces, that's incredible, because I know that it's nothing but a vibration, right? It's the motors coming out of my DualSense Edge, and it just, the way they program it, the way they, have the intensity for each surface combined with the sound, which I guess helps as well, because when Astrobot is on water, it feels different as well. It's freaking nuts. So with Astrobot, the gameplay is phenomenal. It looks visually beautiful. The music is catchy. And of course, every planet has a theme. You're collecting robots, and some of them are dressed up in some of our favorite, as some of our favorite video game characters, like Snake, Solid Snake, or Nathan Drake. So it is a game that I'm playing little by little. The other day I stood on for an hour, right? I had somewhere to go, so I stopped playing. So it's one of those games that I can totally be on for as long as my brain injury allows me to. So I can't wait to finish that one. There's a reason why Astrobot won Game of the Year for some outlets, right? Not every outlet, not every award show gave Astrobot Game of the Year. But I could see why it was so beloved, or it is so beloved, and highly recommended. So yeah, when it comes to video games, that's what I'm playing. Of course, I'll throw in some Madden here and there. I've been on this kick trying to get achievements, and it is nice to see on my PlayStation Network app how my level, as a matter of fact, let me check it out. I'm level 3, and I'm close to halfway to getting to level 4. I think I need to buy, let me see, need to buy one more full game and find 128 rare trophies. So I have 48 right now. So I should be done midway, somewhere in June I should be done. Unless I go traveling, which I plan to with my wife for 3 months. get out of the States for a while. But yeah, as far as video game news, you still have your morons battling it out on social media, whether it's YouTube or Twitter. You have your drifters. No, not drifters. Grifters. Grifters. You have them on YouTube with their stupid fucking thumbnails being in shock or having their hand over their face looking down with these stupid fucking titles saying how this is the end of PlayStation. Or you see on Twitter how Xbox is dominating this year, even though the year just fucking started. It's the same fucking characters too. It's like, dude, some of you gotta be close to my age and you still fucking making a fool of yourself. It's like, don't you have any integrity? Like, after a while, listen, I used to say some stupid shit on social media. I never was a grifter. I never purposely misled people. So I can't say I used to do that. But I did all the events. I did all the back and forth trolling with other people. After a while, you start to discover new hobbies. You start to change because you want to see more out of this world, or you want to make more out of your life. But some of these assholes like Colt Eastwood, and there's some asshole named Boomstick who looks like he's older than I am. I mean, the dude looks like he looks like he lives in his mom's house and he collects disability because he shits himself, right? Like, he looks like somebody that would have a disability, and I'm not making fun of people with disabilities because I have one. But he just looks like that type of person. He has glasses, he has a balding head, he looks like he works at like a meat store, right? Like he's a freaking... And you know what? I've never interacted with the guy. I base shit off of how people behave on social media. So, because these guys been doing it so long, this is who I assume they are. Because after a while, you create a persona, and then after a while, you get rid of that persona, right? You grow up, essentially, and you move on to something different. For me, I got into photography. I got into making videos about photography. Even though I was still playing video games, still talking about video games on a podcast. And these guys, for the last 10 years, have been saying the same shit. Like lying to their audience, hyping up Xbox for whatever fucking reason. Lying about PlayStation and its downfall. For the last 10 years, PlayStation has been on the decline, even though last year, in 2024, it won every MPD every month for 12 months. PlayStation won every NPD. Now, I stopped worrying or giving a shit about NPD numbers. For those that don't know, it's essentially a report showing which console sold more and how, what games sold what during a particular month. So I stopped caring about that years ago, over a decade ago. But there's people that still harp on that. And I'm like, yo, your kids are probably in fucking college, embarrassed at your ass. But to each their own, To each their own. And it's just annoying. It's annoying that not only do I gotta see this shit in video games, but I see it in football now. My favorite team is the New York Giants, and I see freaking podcasts showing up on YouTube with these fucking clickbaity titles that remind me of the video game scene. Every fucking, even the New York Knicks, every video is like, oh my God, the Knicks are unfair. They changed the NBA. Same shit with the New York Giants. It's like these people, once again, are copying each other. I talked about the auto industry and how every content creator who talks about the car market, they all share the same fucking titles with their face over, with their hand over their face, or with this fucking shock look. And once again, those videos could be outstanding. They could have all types of useful information, but I wouldn't know because the biggest turnoff is me seeing those fucking shock faces. And that's just me. I'm sure there's other people out there who can't stand it, especially when there are people making video game content and they're using the fucking shock face for no particular reason. It doesn't even match their content. So it just shows me that there's a weird trend and it's working. And if I was someone else, I would be doing the same shit. Talking about soap with the shock face. Or talking about fucking Twinkies with the shock face. I mean, you could just do any fucking genre. Or talking about any topic. And you can use the shock face. It's going to work. It's going to make you money. Or if you don't like something, put your hand over your face like you're really disappointed and put a stupid thumbnail behind you. You'll make some freaking monetization money. And then you'll have to do it again 30 minutes later because you found something out that's a rumor. It's not even verified. But you need to put content out immediately. So you're going to reuse the same thumbnail and just change some words in your title. There's no fucking creativity on a platform that is made for creative people. But once again, maybe me being 52, me coming from a time where everyone had a some type of unique creativity within their own limits, right? Like some people could draw. I can't draw. I can draw a little bit, but I wouldn't attempt to draw, right? I would just doodle on my freaking notebook. Some people were great songwriters, or poets, or photographers. So we all respected that, right? Because if one of my friends was great at poetry, I would look to that person for some poetry, right? At some point, you go up to them and say, hey, man, I want to give my wife a nice poem. Come up with something. Or my friend would be like, listen, I need a photo, right? I need a photo for my portfolio or my freaking resume. My friend, she used to do acting. She needed a freaking photo for her, not resume, and I forgot what they call it. But it's, essentially they call it a headshot, where they give to agents, when they go to audition, they give the headshot. I met up with her. We did one. And then she made a bunch of copies so that she can use it whenever she goes to auditions. Nowadays, you can't depend on somebody to help you with their creativity because you got a bunch of fucking I don't want to say non-creatives, right? Because there's still something in there if you're capable of setting up nice lighting, setting up a microphone, and coming up with these thumbnails. There's a creative individual in there, but they're so worried about following a trend, following trends in order to stay relevant, that they forget the reason why they're doing YouTube or they're doing podcasts. The same shit with the photography community. I see this fucking trend where people are with their fat little hands putting a picture of a camera. They're holding a camera and they say, this is the camera and then this is the photos. And I've been blocking those motherfuckers because I'm like, yo, you're a fucking photographer, which means you have an eye for shit and you could put something together that most people can't see. And you use your camera to try to make that image a reality, right? That's tough. I should know. I'm a photographer. And I've seen things and I couldn't get it to fit in my camera, right? Meaning I couldn't compose it the way I had it in my head. I couldn't get the lighting right. It takes a lot of skill and practice to get that done. You have to work just like everything else. You have to work on a craft in order to be really good at it. And even then, there's going to be many people better than you. And then you get these fucking idiots posting the same fucking words with their fucking dumbass hand holding a camera. And it's like, dude, nobody wants to fucking see your hand or know which fucking camera you're using. Just fucking post a photo. And then people can talk about your damn photos. That's how it used to be not long ago. You post a photo. Somebody will ask you, hey man, how'd you take that photo? What lens did you use? What camera do you own? What was your ISO setting? Where was that? Right? Actually talking about the process, the location, commenting or critiquing, right? And that's the thing. People are afraid to get critiqued. But in photography, that was how you got better. People would tell you, look, this could be good, but this could be better. This is not that good. And this other thing, you almost got it right. Keep practicing. And you would be like, you know what? Okay, I see what you're talking about. And then eventually there comes a time where you're taking photos for yourself. You're not going out there. And I used to do this at one point. Every time somebody starts photography, they start thinking, oh man, I wonder if my followers are going to like this one. That's normal. But after a while, you start taking photos for yourself. And that's where your creativity really opens up. Because now you're taking more chances, you're experimenting more, and you're not worrying about what other people are going to think. The only time you should worry about critique is when you are ready to open up some type of photography store, selling prints, or you want to do, and I'm drawing a blank because there's like water dripping and it's hitting my AC because I guess the ice is melting over here in New York. A gallery, right? So if I wanted to open up a gallery, I would have to make sure that my shit is good enough to make a gallery, spend the money to open a gallery, and I would have to have people critiquing my stuff. But if you're just doing it because you love photography, it doesn't matter what other people think. I'll post a photo, and most of the time I won't name it. Like some people will give it a stupid fucking name. Like they'll take a picture of a freaking fire hydrant and they'll give it some stupid name, right? To try to make it more than what it is. It's a fire hydrant. But they'll give it a name like, superhero or some stupid shit. And those annoy me, really annoy me too, but, hey, at least they are using their minds to try to give it a name, right? So it's not something I like doing anymore. Because I used to just, let's say I took a picture of a boat. I would fucking write a boat. So, and then let the photo do the talking. I didn't write a 2-paragraph description of the photo trying to describe what I was thinking at that time and why I took the photo and why you should think the photo is good. There's a lot of people who do that too, and it's like, nah, you don't have to do all that. The photo should do the talking. If people like your photo, they will leave a comment. If they don't like it, they will also leave a comment, right? You get more negative comments than positive comments when you create content. And that's just the way it is. But when you get more negative, chances are you're doing something right. Unless you're a total asshole and you have every reason to be critiqued, right? But if they're critiquing you on the stuff you're creating, if it's more negative, that means when all is said and done, you're doing something right. And keep at it, right? Eventually it'll get better. I've seen people who used to do photography, and back when I was more into the photography community, and suddenly I see them on YouTube being sponsored by camera manufacturers, and I'm like, holy shit, I remember this dude when there was one guy who I was watching his stuff, and then I remember I commented on one of his photos on Facebook on a photography group. I had no idea it was him. And he responded to my comment, and he was like, holy shit, man, thank you. I watch your videos, man. You're one of the guys that encouraged me to purchase this camera brand. And I'm like, me? I'm like, oh shit. And so back then, he was starting out. And then all of a sudden, like a year later, because I subscribed to his channel, I see that he's a big shot. And I'm like, oh, damn, that's good, That means he kept at it, and he just freaking let his passion get the best of his, get the best of him. It allowed him to get better. But anyway, I know I'm all over the place. I was talking about TVs, video games, and now I'm talking about content creators again. And I'm the type that when I see an asshole like Colt Eastwood, I don't follow him. I don't retweet his shit. One of the few times I acknowledge him by name, because the best way to get rid of these assholes is to ignore them. Don't watch their shit. Don't retweet their shit because you're annoyed at what they're saying. That's what they want. So when you retweet their stuff, they're still getting the attention they seek. And today we have grifters of all types, and it seems like everything needs to be negative, right? I see people posting about football, and instead of posting about things they enjoy about their favorite team, they immediately start talking shit about players or other quote unquote fans, right? Like I've been in spaces where guys are saying, yeah, these fucking Giants fans, they're stupid. And the few of us that are here, we're the ones who are intelligent enough to know this and this and this. And it's like, number one, you may be talking about 10 other fucking Giants fans. So don't put everyone in the same category, right? That's number one, right? I hate when people do that. And I used to do that. And then one day I was like, you know what? That's very childish when I put an entire demographic of people in the same category as one bunghole or two bungholes, right? So, like when people say, "Oh, all Xbox fans are a-holes because of guys like Tim Dog or Crap Lamer or whatever," right? So that's unfair to say because as someone who used to be a huge Xbox fan, I was never like those individuals, right? And I was a huge Xbox fanboy. And I was heavily involved with the Xbox brand. So to this day, I say I'm an Xbox fan. I don't own a brand new Xbox because I'm disappointed and I vote with my dollar. And that's the difference between me and a lot of these content creators. They will talk shit about a certain brand or they'll talk crap about games, but they still buy them. If you don't like it, don't buy it. Don't talk about it. For example, I saw somebody on my timeline who I followed who is supposed to be a New York Giants fan. The dude started making fun of Lamar Jackson. And I'm like, yo, number one, Lamar Jackson is an incredible football player. Number two, your ass is sitting on whatever the fuck you're sitting on your phone or computer, chances are phone, and you're there criticizing one of the greatest athletes to ever play in the NFL. And it wasn't his fault. He delivered a pass and his tight end dropped it. And here you are with your snarky fucking tweets begging for attention. Is that how you call yourself? Is that what you deem a football fan? And it's shit like that that annoys the hell out of me. It's like no one can say anything. Well, let me not say no one. Some people, they cannot say something on social media without it being some type of snarky, hateful, fucking content or remark. Same thing on Facebook. I see all these fucking people. Not too many. I know I'm using. I gotta catch myself and correct myself. I've seen a few people on that I follow. Well, I used to follow. One guy posted an article about Trump pardoning 1,600 people who committed a crime, right? It is what it is, right? They committed a fucking crime. He posts the link and then put winning. And the guy is a Trump supporter. And I was like, you know what? Enough, bro. This is somebody that I've broken bread with in real life. I've never had issues outside of conversations regarding politics. That's why I don't like talking politics. And we even play Helldivers too, right? But I was like, you know what? Have fun on Facebook, talking to whoever the fuck you're talking to, because nobody else is responding to your shit. So have fun. I don't want to see it. And the only reason why I still have Facebook is because I still keep contact with some people from high school, some family members, right? They have my number, but nowadays people really don't fucking talk on the phone like we used to back in the days. We text or we just get in touch via some type of direct message through an app or whatever. But eventually I'm gonna get rid of Facebook. eventually I'm going to get rid of X. Because now that there's a new president, all the craziness is starting to reappear on my freaking timeline. And it doesn't matter if it's pro or anti-Trump. I've blocked so many people who are criticizing Elon Musk or Trump. Not because I'm supporters of them, but because it's still hateful shit. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see grifters of any type, whether I'm for or against something. Either way you look at it, you are still putting hateful, a hateful, not karma, but vibe. You're still throwing hate into my timeline. And it's fucking annoying. That's not why I go to these social apps. Not long ago, I would go on Facebook and see somebody taking a photo of what they're fucking eating. Or taking a photo of a vacation they're taking. Now, I see less of that shit. And maybe those people are like me, where they're like, you know what? I'm not going to these apps as often as I used to. I'll go like a few times a day to check out my memories, right? It'll show you like memories from like 12 years ago, or to see who has a birthday coming up. On X or Twitter, that's where I go for my video game news, or, well, news in general, because a lot of stuff breaks there first. And then there are people I interact with, but I block so many fucking people. Or lately I've been unfollowing people on Twitter as well, who are just all of a sudden posting these stupid links that are really fucking negative about politics. And that's the other thing that and I was speaking to my wife about this, and I was like, yo, a lot of these people at some point were really fucking cool and they're smart people. But why is it that they are all behaving the same way, right? Posting links, and then they comment with this hateful, aggressive, comments like, haha, take this, you softies, you snowflakes. And I'm like, who the fuck are they talking to? Because nobody's responding to their stuff. But the guy you wanted for president won. He is in office now. Why are you still fucking angry? And that's something that I notice. They have programmed people to hate one another, to waste so much time on these platforms where you are posting shit that eventually loses you friends, maybe family members. With me, it's losing respect, right? I can't respect people who are posting such shit, because that's what you really think. And something snapped. And something took over you where you're not disciplined or wise enough to say, yo, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I posting this shit? I look like a damn fool. Like a freaking 10-year-old throwing a tantrum that your mommy didn't buy you a fucking pepperoni pizza. And now you're on the floor kicking and screaming. And you're saying, you know what? I'm going to take a shit on myself in front of everybody in this pizza shop. And you're going to have to wipe my ass. Take that, mommy. So it is odd behavior from adults that I know are fucking smart people. If I was following them and I was cool with them at one point, it's for a reason. I found these people interesting and cool, and for the most part, they're still cool people but something just fucking snapped. And after a while, it's like, yo, I can't take this anymore. This is not me. So therefore, I have to arrange my social feeds to make it as free of this garbage as I can, because I see it on YouTube with video games. I see it on Twitter with video games and sports. I see it on Facebook now with fucking politics. And it's from people that I know. I would expect it from people I don't know. But when it's people I know, that's when it really becomes alarming for me. And I start feeling like I can feel like this tension when I start reading, and then all of a sudden it's like, holy shit, it's overwhelming, right? The negativity. If you start reading it or you start watching these videos and you're like, holy shit, I'm just going deeper into this rabbit hole, and it's really rotting my fucking brain. And that is not by accident, man. All of this is by design. You divide people from the same fucking nationality, same skin color, same ethnic background, financial status, whatever, right? You pit us against each other so that other people can go behind your back and start taking shit away from you. And before you know it, you're left with nothing, because you made enemies with the people that you consider friends or family. And the ones that you thought that you were going to be part of their group, they left your ass. And it's funny that it's fucking people who are Hispanic or mixed. Like my wife's Filipino. She was telling me that people in her family were voting for Trump. And I was like, okay, that's cool. But then they started telling me, they started telling her why. And it was like, did they really say that? And it's like, I'm reading the same type of retarded shit on the internet. What's going on here? Like, how is it that so many people can reiterate the same shit that is not true and can easily be Googled, and that is why they're voting? Like, they can't really tell me a legitimate reason? One of my friends, who I've been friends with a long time, he gave me the best reason for voting who he voted for. And I was like, you know what? I haven't heard that one. That makes total sense. So did one of my cousins. But holy shit. A lot of other people, they were like, I thought they were joking. I was like, there's no way you believe this. You're fucking 70 years old. You believe that shit? No way. And that's the country we live in, man. People say the world. No, it is not the world. Go and travel, and you'll see how people are different than they are in the United States. It's just a different vibe. In every country, every individual, they have their own issues, they have their own problems. But I'm telling you, you go to Madrid, you're going to see people having fun, interacting with one another outside. Go to freaking Rome, you're going to see people who take pride in everything they do, whether they're a freaking waiter or they're driving you around in a cab, right? You see people dressed nicely. There's just a different mentality in the United States where we need to compete against one another. For what? For what? And you know what? That's part of a learning process, because as you get older, you're like, you know what? I'll go to Walmart and buy me a pair of Wrangler jeans. I don't give a fuck. Right? I'll buy me this t-shirt. I believe the name brand is George from Walmart, because it fits me nice. So I'll buy like 10 of these. No one needs to know what the hell I'm wearing because nobody gives a damn, right? All that superficial shit, it comes and goes. But you learn that through experience. You're going to come to a point in your life where you're going to be like, you know what? Holy shit, I really don't care about this anymore. Why did I give a crap about this to begin with? Fucking travel. I'm telling you, save your money. You guys know I've always told you to invest in the market. Download Robinhood and buy some freaking stocks, some ETFs, and then save money to travel. You need to. You need to experience a different culture in order to understand what we are lacking in the United States. We have it, but our surroundings do everything that it can to keep us from enjoying what life is really about. We're just a different, culture. We're that hustle culture. Everything needs to move fast. Everything needs to be about the bottom dollar. And unless you're part of a certain demographic, people like myself, we're just an asset. And when we're no longer useful, they go get somebody else who'll work for cheaper. That's how we are in this fucking country. Don't lose sight of the big picture. That's all I'm saying. Go experience a different country for a few weeks, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. You'll find yourself looking at your bank account and looking at the shit you're spending, and you'll say, you know what? I don't need to buy 50 freaking Air Jordans. Let me save that money, put it to the side for the next time I want to go traveling. I'm going to enjoy that a whole lot more. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. I know there's been another one of my famous episodes that is all over the place. If you stuck around this long, I thank you. And I hope you enjoyed this brand new episode of the Postgame Report. Remember, buy yourself an OLED TV. Don't listen to these drifters or grifters, these scallywags. Ignore them. That's how you get at them. Oh, and by the way, people were making these videos about the end of Sony. Sony and PlayStation, right? The PlayStation side of Sony. They've been canceling, or rumor has it, right? Canceling certain free-to-play games, games as a service type games, like Fortnite type thing. That's good. That's good. People have been making fun of them. Well, the fact that Sony's canceling these things is a good thing. That means they're not forcing it. They're not wasting resources trying to develop these things. And they see something that's telling, the decision makers that this is wrong and this is not a good move. So instead of bashing Sony for what could have happened, because let's face it, if you don't like what they're doing, you don't have to buy it, right? The same goes with, the content creators. So instead of Sony putting us in that type of predicament, instead of bashing them, just wait and see and wait till I'm trying to fucking ignore this fucking truck outside that's making noise. So I'm gonna reset. Wait for the next announcement that PlayStation makes, or wait for some official news out of PlayStation. Because the bottom line is, our consoles are for video games. I've been playing video games for a very long freaking time. Never had I've worried about the direction, or better yet, not direction. I never had to worry about Atari telling me what their strategy is for the future, right? I never said, you know what, Atari, you're pissing me off because you're not telling me, you're not giving me an outline of things to come, and I need to know it. No, I never did that shit. I never worried about it until the last few years, right? Like the last 5 years, people have been bitching about PlayStation not telling them what their, plan is for 3 years from now, right? Like, are we that fucking bored that that's what's bothering you? I guess you've never experienced true hardship, because once you do, you'll realize that worrying about stupid shit like this, that is our hobby, that we control through our wallet, once you go through some hardship, you're going to realize that all that energy was spent on foolishness. Because if you don't like it, you don't have to buy it. You can move on to another brand. Or if you enjoy playing video games, if you enjoy the hobby of playing video games, if you grew up like that, what has changed? Why can't you enjoy it now? Why does information that doesn't pertain to you, why does that bother you so much? And why do you make a fool of yourself by posting shit like that? This is the type of shit I'm talking about. It's so fucking annoying. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up because I'm gonna keep talking nonsense. But yeah, don't go shitting on yourself in the pizza shop. Buy yourself an OLED TV if you can, and do whatever you can to save money and take a fucking trip. Go to Spain, go to Italy, go somewhere to Europe. I mean, if you're really daring, go to the Philippines, where you can enjoy a freaking 7-course meal for $7, $7 American. So, anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. You guys take care. Talk to you soon.